Okay, so this is a fully scripted video. This thing probably took me over 10 hours to create. I'm glad you clicked on this video and enjoy.
Today I'll be talking to you about how the graphics card contributes to your PC. Now, some of you might be wanting to know, what's a graphics card? Well, the graphics card, otherwise known as a GPU, is the muscle of your computer. Without it, it's little more than a phone. The GPU handles the processing related to what you see. For example, the CPU says, how about you go render the sky? The GPU goes to the translator and is like, bro, what did he just say? And the translator tells the GPU what he said. And the GPU goes, oh, okay, and renders the sky. After the GPU finishes, it hands the CPU a rendered frame. The cycle repeats itself however many times your screen refreshes. Now, going back to your computer being little more than a phone without a graphics card. This statement is true, however, most new CPUs have integrated GPUs as well, called iGPUs. Now, you might be thinking, why would I want a graphics card whenever I can get CPU and GPU in one? Well, most very low-end graphics cards cannot perform integrated ones. The reason why happens to be the amount of space allotted to the iGPU. The iGPU has to share space, power, and cooling with the CPU. Plus, most CPUs are like this big, while on the other hand, a dedicated graphics card has a lot more space on the board for it. Also, the graphics card doesn't need to share a cooling device with the CPU, leading to more cooling potential, meaning you can draw more power, and more power means more FPS. You could say cooling is an open and shut case. You just throw a heatsink on there and you're ready to go. You'd be right, to an extent. When there's electricity moving through anything, a percentage of it is converted into heat. That's why you need a heatsink for most of any electronics. Most heat sinks are rated using TDP, meaning thermal designed power. Every GPU has a TDP. It could be 75 watts or upwards of 400. Now, think about it. A CPU with a TDP of 35 watts needs a small-ish heatsink. Just think of how big the heatsink would have to be to cool a 400 watt GPU. Now, some of you may be wondering, why do you need a coolant in the first place? Well, keeping your GPU cool will raise the performance and life of that part. We have talked about what a GPU is and what we need to do to cool it, but something I have not talked about yet are the models and the respective companies. Some companies you may or may not have heard of are AMD and Nvidia. Now, yeah, I know, it's not that much, but they're titans in the field. I am going to talk about their different computer users. Number one has to be the low-spec user. Being a low-spec user requires a lot of time deal hunting, researching, and self-control. Example cards would be no card, just iGPU in their CPU. Next up is the mid-range gamer. This category is the one I fall under. Being a mid-range gamer means you're not as budget-focused as a low-spec user would be, but also not throwing away money for the namesake of RTX, like a High-Spec Gamer would. The example cards for this user go the 1650 Super or AMD RX 590. The third user, if you couldn't have guessed, is the High-Spec Gamer. Being a high-spec gamer means you basically have no budget, and you're an early adopter to every new computer part. Oh yeah, don't forget about RGB. You have to have a full disco party in your PC. Example GPUs for this class are as follows. RTX 3090 Ti, RTX 3080, AMD RX 6900 XT, and the RTX 2080 Ti. Those GPUs I listed off are from highest performance to lowest, and the most of them are NVIDIA GPUs. So, in going off of this, NVIDIA is the better GPU maker for high-spec users. Okay, thanks for watching. I may be making more videos about different computer parts, i.e. CPU, power supply, RAM, stuff like that. So just stop by every couple of weeks, check in. Anyway, have a good day, y'all. God, I'm glad that's done. Now I have like 3 or 4 hours of editing ahead of me. Not fun. I don't trust myself holding this card. I honestly don't, because I don't know how to hold it. I think I did it! I think I did it! Yes! Yes, I did it! I think. I hope. Maybe. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Thanks for watching. I may... Okay, well, thanks for watching. Okay, thanks for watching. I may be working... I think that one
Hit.
Let's go.